So the Indiana Fever they're not regretting it because Christy Sides is incompetent, but they should already be regretting waiving Celeste Taylor. They genuinely should already be regretting this, especially after what happened in the last game. And it's going to be even worse, by the way. It's going to be even worse on Sunday. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 14.1 thousand subscribers as soon as possible. We're at 6. We're 6 away. If we could hit that, that'd be crazy. But anyway, yeah. So Celeste Taylor does one thing and one thing really well. Or two things. She runs the floor and she defends. She is a bad but she's a mediocre shooter. Like she shoots the 3 in the low 30s. The shot doesn't look broken, but she's not this like absolute sniper. She's not a 3-and-D player. She is a D-and-no 3 player. But at the same time, it's not like she's horrendously awful when it comes to offense, but she's nothing special. She's definitely nothing special. And I have a weird feeling that the Chicago Sky are going to pick her up. I think that the team that the Fever are rivals with more than anyone this year, because let's be real, there's no like actual rivalry with them and any other team because the Fever have been so bad for so long they haven't developed any rivalry. They barely won a game in the last 7 years. So I think I have a really weird feeling the Chicago Sky are gonna go and take Celeste Taylor. But this is the run that they're on. Like, if you know anything about this team, like, according to their coach, they have a dog named Christy Wallace who is able to takes on the other team's best player. But honestly, like, if you were to compare, like, if she is a dog, she must be a poodle because she has an inability to guard anybody. She has some inability to guard anybody. But when we look at the Fever's schedule, now this is where things start to get really rough. And this is where they're going to lose a bunch of games. This is where you should have been playing Celeste Taylor and just giving her a chance. This is where you should have given her a chance. First of all, Seattle, you look at these games. Seattle Storm, they got absolutely cooked by Jewel Lloyd. The Phoenix Mercury, they're playing Kat Copper. The Las Vegas, no one's going to be able to guard Copper on this team. And then there's Taurasi. So, who's going to have to split them? In reality, Celeste Taylor should have at times been guarding Copper. And I think that, like, Caitlin Clark can guard Cloud. And you can maybe put Mitchell on Taurasi. But they're going to really struggle defensively. The Indiana Fever then are playing the Aces. And what's going to happen against the Aces? One of Kelsey Plum or Jackie Young, whichever one, they're both going to kill them. They have no answer for both of them. The New York Liberty, Sabrina Ionescu. The Washington Mystics, they're playing. Heck, Ariel Atkins has hooked them every time they played this year. The Phoenix Mercury, again, you're playing Kat Copper. The Minnesota Lynx, you're playing, like, oh, what's her name? Oh my God, off the top of my head, I forgot it. She balled out in the Commissioner's Cup final. I forgot. And then obviously they got Kayla McBride as well. The Dallas Wings, you're playing Arike. Who the hell's going to guard Arike? Who's going to guard Arike? And I'm sorry, like, at this stage, JC Sheldon's going to cook them too. Then you're playing the Mercury again, Kat Copper, you're playing Jewel Lloyd again. You're playing the Lynx, who would look like the best team in the league. Then you're playing Ryan Howard. Obviously, sorry, that's post-Olympics. But still, you are now in a situation where, up to this point, you don't have an easy game guard-wise. You are going to be facing a good scoring guard in every single game. And you cut your only good perimeter. You've cut your best perimeter defender. I still can't believe it. I still cannot believe they cut their best perimeter defender. I'm sorry, I just realized I put my head down right, but they cut their best perimeter defender right before they go on a road trip against the best teams in the WNBA who all have exceptional guards. It makes no sense. There is no reason for Victoria Saxon to be on the team. There is absolutely no reason for them to activate Damira Stantas. Just pay the money. Oh wait, the owner bought the team as a tax write-off. The owner couldn't care less. They're cheap as hell. But yeah, it's so horrible to look at this, and you're like, you just know one of Taurasi or Copper are going to destroy this team tomorrow. And look, I think right now Wallace could maybe guard Taurasi. has a 0% chance of doing anything on Cat Copper. A 0% chance. And then you've also got, like, we saw what happened with Jewel Lloyd. Like, Cat Copper's better than Jewel Lloyd. Especially this season's been better. And then you just got rid of the only defender you had. It's like why you're playing a game against a team that double teams every single time, and you're going to get open 3-point shots. So what do? You freeze out your best shooter. Like, there needs to be some sort of a competence test to be a GM or a coach. And again, I get it, Lynn Dunn, you were a legend. Lynn Dunn, you are a legend. I'm not going to insult Lynn Dunn's career, but she is the worst GM I've ever seen. She is even worse. She is even worse than the GM who hired his son as a coach. And Christy Sides is worse than the coach who was hired by his dad, who was hired because his dad was the GM. It is, I just don't get it. And this comes from ownership. Herb Simon, great owner in the NBA, could not give a flying FUCK about this team. And it shows. It shows. Like, why Damiris Dantas was brought in. She was brought in. The day she was brought in, Temi Fagbenle comes back. Like, she was literally brought in. She's brought in to sit on the end of the bench. She's brought in to sit on the end of the bench. And look, if you want just to have a veteran presence there, bring back Angel McCautry. Bring her back. Bring her back. Because at least she was a legend. At least she was an absolute legend of the WNBA. She's going to be a legitimate vet. Bring her back. She's looking to come back. She's going to offer you more than Damiris Dantas is. So, I just really don't get it. And I also don't understand why Victoria Saxon's still on the team. I'm guessing just based on who she's friends with. But I would not be. I'm just so confused at this. I really, really am confused. And to be fair, look, again, it is what it is. It is what it is when it comes to the roster construction. But it's terrible. Like, it's bad enough that you've even got, like, Paul Pierce out there calling out, like, Christy Sides. You've got NBA legends saying that Christy Sides needs to be fired. Like, that's how bad it's gotten. But, yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that they will regret it? Do you guys think that I'm overreacting? Or do you guys think that, no, they're happy they cut Celeste Taylor and Celeste Taylor maybe isn't good enough? And I don't necessarily think Celeste Taylor is the answer, by the way. Like, I don't think Celeste Taylor is this unbelievable player. But what I think is that, like, they need a player in that mold. They need a better player than Celeste Taylor in that mold. Like, they need a Dejanay Carrington. Go and give Dejanay Carrington the max. Connecticut probably won't be able to match it. Go give her the max. Pair her up with Alyssa Smith, the perfect player there. But they just need runners to play defense. This is a team that is going to be at their best playing Caitlin Clark's pace. We've seen it in games when they've looked good. When this team has looked good, other than, you might be saying, like, they looked good that time against the Atlanta Dream, and the Atlanta Dream suck. The only times they've ever looked good against good teams are when they're running. It's the only way they're going to win on Sunday against the Mercury is outrunning Brittany Griner. The only way they're going to win, they're ever winning. The only reason they were in that game at all against Seattle was they went on that run where Caitlin Clark was just running at them. And this team running up and down is a decent basketball team. The problem is that in this slowdown, they could play a slowdown style of basketball and win 12 games a year for the next half a decade. But if this team wants to actually win, the coach has got to do something. And the worst part is a player like a Celeste Taylor was a perfect player for the direction the team probably should be heading if they want to win long term, and not the direction where they're just happy out winning 12 games for the rest of time.